It's a critical thing about ownership structures, and what we want to get across in the presentation is really, just a basic understanding first of all of what's involved. So what structures do you have, who controls them, what are their roles, where the cash is can be a really important thing in terms of succession planning. So it's really just a case of getting all that stuff down on paper, because what we find when we work with clients is that it's not always as people think. There are a number of structures that people will have in place, from sole traders and partnerships through to companies and trusts. And from a succession planning point of view, there are different things that we need to deal with in terms of managing those through as part of the succession plan. So, it's important to, be really clear about which structures are in place and which structures own which assets, and really understand what the implications are. Companies can be a really interesting structure in terms of your overall succession plan, because some of those older companies out there, you can have different share classes which have different rights, different voting rights and different rights to capital on wind up. So that can be important to get your head around, because not all those shareholdings are the same and they're not all treated the same. Companies can sometimes be difficult to extract money out of or extract value out of in a tax effective way. So it's really important, to get hold of the company constitution or memo and articles and read it from back to front and understand exactly who owns the shares and the rights that attach to those shares, particularly if there are different classes. For those business operators who run part of their business or who hold assets through trusts, we also need to understand a range of factors about the trusts and how they work. Understanding the key roles is really important. So, who's the appointer? Or the principal, which is the person that has the power to hire and fire the trustee. Who are the trustees? Who are the beneficiaries? Or the unit holders if they're fixed trusts, or beneficiaries if they're discretionary, and how does all that fit together in terms of being able to either collapse the structure as part of a succession plan, or again move control of the structure onwards to another generation. Lots of people run different businesses with different structures, so it can come down to in which structure other funds held, or also it can relate to superannuation holdings as well. Are there superannuation holdings? Do we need to establish some superannuation holdings for people exiting the business? So when we're looking at assets, obviously we want to know what assets there are, what they're worth, what the capital gains tax cost bases of them are, and also how are they tied up? So, have they been offered as security for bank finance, and how does that impact our overall succession plan in terms of what we need to do to release that finance security if we need to, or to change it over as part of the overall succession plan. The capital gains tax is going to be one of the key numbers that you need to take into account when you're putting your succession plan together. Understanding the assets that you have are important in that, in terms of which assets are actually pre and post CGT, which assets were bought before or after September 1985 when capital gains tax came in. Potentially also there can be some rollover relief that we can access depending on eligibility, and also some small business concessions we can also use to transfer assets from one generation to another, or to let older generations of people retire from the farm and pass it on to the younger generations in the family.